Hello, hello. And today we are going to talk about networking. Specifically, we have an expert today that's going to be sharing with us her knowledge, her expertise, and her experience in growing her business by networking successfully, especially online. Hi, welcome. My name is Evie Hernandez, and I am your strategic growth speaker here at bizuniversity.com. And I love teaching content creators like you how to leverage marketing automation to increase your online sales easily with ease. And today we're going to talk about a topic that I can never get enough on this topic because it is the topic of networking. And today I have an expert that I'm going to bring up, and her name is Tiffany Kellog. And let me make sure that I add Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany.
Hello.
So, Tiffany, let me begin by saying welcome and thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here with y'all today.
I love it. And you know, I have so many questions, but before we begin, because there's so much I need to learn about you, because I want to know so much about you, because I love so many of the things that you do and you share. And let's first begin by, for those that may not know you, let's begin by telling them a little bit about you and what you do.
So I work with entrepreneurs to help them make more money, save more time, and have more fun by generating more referrals in their business. And while I used to host in-person programs, you know, we sit around the table or in a classroom setting, now I do everything here online, taking advantage of the opportunity to work with people around the world instead of just in my local area or whatever companies hired me to come out to see them, and really focus on having more referrals.
I love that. And, you know, I want to go ahead and talk about this in the context of how can we do this online. And let me just go ahead and say hello to one of our student clients that's watching, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us. Please feel free to post any questions you have of our guest speaker today right there in the chat, and I will do my best to respond. And you know, I'm excited because I haven't really had a chance to know a lot about you. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I find out a little bit more about you, because we didn't get a chance to really do like a one-on-one like I wanted to. And then I'd like for you to give a little tasting with at least 3 tips that we can use for networking online, specifically because we have an upcoming event that I'll be promoting where you are actually going to be diving in a little deeper. And I'm hoping that we can actually have you teach us how to implement this while we are in a live event coming up. And just for those of you that are watching right now and are curious, today is a little tasting, a little preview of what Tiffany is going to be sharing with us at our next Synergy Partners Networking event. The Synergy Partners Networking event will happen on Thursday, July 15th. Therefore, you have, if you're watching this on the replay or live, you have a full month to plan in advance. Mark your calendar, because we're going to have Tiffany share with us how we should be networking in a live virtual event, and hopefully she can direct us. And of course, anyone watching and being with us either on Facebook or live inside, when we are inside the event, will be able to also ask Tiffany questions. So first, before we get to all that jazz and all that good stuff, because I'm excited that you're going to be joining us next month, tell me a little bit about what you teach and how you teach it, because I know that you have written several books and I want you to mention them and tell us about that. I also know that you do a lot of things solely on your own, and then you also do some training with a company. And I'm curious about this because, as you know, many of the people that are part of my community are speakers like you and me, and many may be curious as to how do you go about this. And of course, I'm curious because when I launched my career as a speaker, I actually got certified by 2 different companies and I work directly with them. I'm no longer doing that the way I used to, but it's always interesting, especially if we have someone that had to pivot in 2020 and may not be getting speaking gigs, or perhaps someone who's starting as a speaker and want to know how to launch themselves out into the marketplace. So please.
That is a lot of stuff. Okay, so I will probably not cover it all without remembering. I'll probably
That's
forget
okay.
some of the things. So you may have to remind me some of the questions. But what I figured I'd start with is I didn't have a vision growing up necessarily of being a public speaker. Though I ended up getting into business for myself in 2003. I started my own business, and it was a promotional products company. And I spent the next couple of years cold calling, and I am good at it, and I hate doing it. But somebody called me up and said, "Hey, you want to check out this networking event?" And it was the very first time I had ever gone to a networking event. I have a marketing degree, but they don't teach you how to do kind of that small business things. I had a promotional products company with one employee. That would be me. They don't teach you how to do this network marketing, this referral marketing in college. It's, hey, what would you do with this advertising campaign of $1 million? And no, most people don't have that. They're lucky to get, an advertising budget of like $500. And so I was out there trying it out, and then I found networking. And there's some really great advice out there on networking. And then there's some advice that means well, though I think there's a better way to do networking. And that's actually the premise of my first book. It's called 4.5 Networking Mistakes. And it's like, here are the things that the experts tell you to do, but really there's a better, I hate to call them mistakes and say the experts are wrong, but it's like, there's a better way to do this networking thing. And I kind of, began to work on that referral marketing and work on the networking. And I went from spending 80% of my time cold calling. Once I started networking, it was down to 0 within 9 months. So I really was able to kind of take this idea of referral marketing and just run with it. And that's, people ask me nowadays, how much of your business do you get by referral? And I'm like, almost all of it, because I train people on how to get referrals. So it'd be really weird for me to cold call clients. Now that it really works. And I told you, I'm good at cold calling. I just didn't like to do it. And a big part of my success, I did a program called the Certified Networker Program, which has now been renamed, it's been years, to the Ignite Your Business program. And I just fell in love with the content and the results that it created. And so that's one of the organizations that I facilitate for. It's called Ascentive. It's a worldwide organization. We're in Japan and South Africa, Dubai, India, United States, Canada, lots of places. And I love having the opportunity to share that information. So I do the Ignite Your Business program, but then I also have content of my own. The 4.5 Networking Mistakes is, stuff that I came up with. So I've got kind of a mix of, things that I do within the Ascentive brand and things that I do within the Tiffany brand, but they really go together hand in hand. My vision is to help people have more money, more time, and more fun. Or another way that we like to look at it is, how do we have that amazing business and spectacular life? Too many entrepreneurs I know are slaves to their business.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I like what you said. And that's, I think, one of the things that attracted me to you is more money, more fun, more time. Because you may know by now that one of my things, as I indicated when I said the welcome, is this idea of how do we grow our business easily with ease. So, and I appreciate you sharing a little bit about how you work with two companies and how they come together so beautifully. And I wanted just to say that because I know that sometimes speakers have so many ideas, or content creators, and they don't know how to mesh that. And it sounds like people are doing so many things, and sometimes, like for me, it makes me wonder, well, how dedicated or focused are they to being an expert in one field? And sometimes it's finding something like you did and meshing together, and it's all within your area of expertise, which is something that I love. Now, let's talk about this online arena. And by the way, let me just say that I am not into cold calling at all. Okay. I am all about teaching online entrepreneurs, content creators, how to grow their business organically. So not even with ads, definitely not by cold calling. And so let's just define a few things so that people know what we're talking about. First of all, for me, cold calling is literally sending either emails at cold or literally calling. And so that's that thing. And then the other thing that I like for us to talk about in your 4.5 mistakes, is it 4.5 mistakes? And by the way,
Yeah.
was that your one book, or I thought you had more than one?
So my first book is the 4.5 networking mistakes.
Well, that caught my attention, of course, because you wrote 4.5. And then I was wondering, because I have not read your book yet, was one of the mistakes this idea that people go to networking events and give out your business cards, give out their business cards, talk and talk and try to sell you right then and there when they met you. So to me, and then of course, the second mistake I was wondering was the one that I just mentioned right before, which is this idea of just cold calling either over the phone or via email, which is really email blasting, which I used to do for the longest time. I'm going to confess, I'm always confessing, by the way. I'm going to confess that I did in the past. So are those two included in there? And if not, what are your thoughts regarding those two activities?
So the second one, the cold calling and the email blasts and calls of people you don't know, is not in there, because to me, like, I look at there's 4 ways to grow your business. You have cold calling, which is where you're actually making that cold contact. You got PR, public relations, which I include often social media under there. You have advertising as the third. And then the fourth is referrals and networking. So I kind of put cold calling in a whole different category. So I didn't address that one. But the other one that you mentioned, so the premise in my mind, like, why do we go to networking events, is so we can book a meeting from the meeting. So if I'm going to a networking event, and this could be in person or this could be on Zoom, the goal is I want to find the right folks that would be the right fit for me, whether that they could be a prospect or they could be a good referral source on my behalf. Now, if I meet them and I'm all excited, networking mistake number 1 is actually, don't be guilty of in-person spamming. And in-person spamming is when you shove that business card into the person's face, like, hey, you need my card, here you go. So yep, that is networking mistake number 1. Don't be guilty of in-person spamming.
I had to write that there. That'll show up in all my pages and groups, because I had never heard of in-person spamming. And by now you know that I am an email marketing expert. I've been speaking on email marketing for over 12 years. And of course, I speak a lot about spamming. I had never heard about that. Did you make that up? Is that one of your words?
That's what we like to call an Tiffany. That's your epiphany from Tiffany.
I love it. I love it. I love that. I love that a lot. Okay. So then how do people go? Because one of the things that I teach, and like you, my background is marketing. Of course, I am a marketing expert speaker. That's what I do. One of the things that I learned, and that I am now teaching even more ongoing, is this idea of really understanding the buyer's journey. And I say that because, number 1, when we understand the buyer's journey, then we have patience with ourselves and with people. And number 2, then we can eliminate doing some of the silliness, like, I love that you said that, in-person spamming, because it's like dating, and I always say that. I meet you, I like you. I don't immediately say, will you marry me? No, absolutely not. So then how can we, or how are people transitioning from this idea of in-person to online? And of course, I know that we are now in a new normal. We're more hybrid events, and we're going back to in-person events. But for me, my whole focus will be 90% will be virtual, in-person, live in virtual, pardon me.
So we're talking live events that are done virtually.
Yes.
So I think that a lot of the rules that come to networking apply the same, whether they're in person or online. I think I actually did a video about that recently, that it was like, they're the same. Basically, I mean, they're not, because you don't have the opportunity for as much small talk. So to me, when I approach an online networking event, I have my little handy, it's not up because I'm not at an event, but I've got my little handy Rocket book ready to go so I can take my notes. Ha ha ha. And like, I want to make a note of the people that I see in the room that I hear from or that I see in the chat box that could be either an amazing client for me or a really great referral source. Now, that does take me knowing what good referral sources are. So I'm thinking about what are the professions, those non-competing industries with the same target market that would easily be able to refer me and vice versa. Like you and I, we fit because I'm mainly focused on, my side of it. You're mainly focused on your side of it. And so we fit well together because we're speaking on, we're in the marketing realm, but I'm more, you're on the email side and I'm more on the referral side. So even if there's a little overlap, it fits. And so I'm always on the lookout for those people. And typically I'll follow up afterwards with a quick email. Hey, it was great seeing, I use the quotes a lot, great seeing you at whatever the event was. And then I always try to connect on social media. Now, networking nugget number 19 from the 4.5 networking mistakes. So the 19 networking nuggets are what to do before, during, and after a networking event, plus how to deal with networking nervousness. For full disclosure, it is pre-COVID, so there's not an online section. I will eventually update it with an online section, but for now, so it's pre-COVID. But networking nugget number 19 says connect with people that you meet offline, online. So we're just going to change that to connect the people you met at a networking event online. Now, my kind of rule of thumb is if it's somebody in a business event, I feel pretty comfortable reaching out and trying to connect with them on LinkedIn. I feel it's a professional platform, and so it's easy to do that. When it comes to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those others, what I typically will do is either look at if they put their information in the chat box, do they have a link to those things? So one of my cheats when it comes to online networking, I have a Word document. It's called Zoll because that's what I like to call a Zoom call. So Zoll, Zoom plus call. So I'll open it and I actually have like, here's my name, here's what I do, here's my links to my social media. So I have all of those ready to go so I can just cut and paste it into the chat box. And I find more and more people are doing that. And so if they put their link to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok in there, then I don't mind clicking on that. So if it's there, I'll do it. If it's in their email signature, I'll connect with them there. And if it is on their website, I'll connect on those. Otherwise, I kind of hold off because I know not everybody uses those social media sites the same.
Absolutely. Well, here's one thing I got, and I have much more. So, and I like that you said this because when I was participating in-person events and now live virtual, I always think about what is the goal? And that's what I'm putting here. So have a goal. What is the goal? I love that you also thought about, I heard you say at least two people. Like I often think about the same thing. I think, A, is this a prospective client? Or B, a referral, or I call it a synergy partner. That's why I have the synergy partners, because I always believe that there's a potential, and the synergy partner for me is either a referral partner, someone we can synergize and see how we can work together, how we could create that third mind together, if you will. So I like that you said that, and I don't know if you said it, but one of the things that I got is quality over quantity, because that's one of the things that I always focus, whether it is like recently I did my 5-day grow your list challenge, and I've done that training forever, except now I call it a challenge. But I always used to focus on numbers. Oh, you got to get tons of numbers. And I've had a huge email list, and then I came to understand, even though I intellectually knew all these things in marketing, but as a business owner, I said, wait a minute, it's more about the quality versus the quantity. So whether it is an online event now that I've participated in, AirMeet or Hopin or Zoom, what I do is, and I would love to get your thoughts, I go with the goal of meeting 1 to 3, no more than 5 people. If I met 5 people, I'm like, wow, that was great. And then what I do is, because like I said, I'm focusing quality versus quantity, I will immediately, like you, check out their LinkedIn, their Facebook, ask them to connect. But one of the things I've been doing is I immediately go to their website to find out a little bit about them. And I may just, and I've been doing this, send them an email right through their website. And for me, that's powerful because, I'm all about marketing automation. So I immediately know whether or not they're leveraging marketing automation correctly. And if they reply, and usually I find that even if they're not using email marketing automation correctly, they will usually respond faster if they're on top of their website to an email that I send directly through their website. And so that's what I usually do. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, so I love the idea of like, let's create a goal before we go to a networking event. And I usually create my goal based on how much time I have to follow up. So before I go into the networking event, I think, all right, I have 2 hours this week to do some follow-up. How much time does 2 hours afford me to do? And I'll often set my goals on how many people I want to connect with based on the goals that I had. Now, when we were in person, it worked really well because I would essentially go do my thing and be gone in like 20 or 30 minutes. People are like, were you at the event? I'm like, yeah, I hit my goal and then I was gone. Zoom's a little bit different. Like if everybody is like doing their commercials, you want to hang around. You don't want to be the one that leaves because it's rude. But yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned dating earlier. Like to me, if I go to a speed networking event, I don't want the phone numbers and the email addresses and the names of everybody there. I want the information of the people that I connect with. And I think going to networking events is the same thing. I'm not going to reach out to all these folks. Like to me, like never ever. And I'm sure you tell people the same. Just because somebody gave you a business card or said, here's my email address does not mean to add them to your list. That is not.
And I like that you said that, number one, because I confess that that's what I used to do. Okay. I used to do
That's
that.
what they tell you to do.
Yeah,
They be the experts.
I like that Andrea, who's hanging out with us, said, I never imagined this as spam. I love that because, yeah, usually I used to do that. I used to grab all these business cards and start spamming people. She also goes on to say, is that what you said, Ezol, the modern Rolodex?
So I call it a Zal, a Z-A-L-L is what I call it.
Okay, love that, love that. So for our event, and I just want to remind people that we have guest expert speaker on networking, Tiffany Kellog, who I am so blessed that she's going to be blessing us with her wonderful energy, because as you can see, she has a wonderful energy, which is another reason that it totally attracted me to her. And she's going to be talking and sharing with us. And hopefully maybe we can do some exercising, because I'll tell you what we're planning to use is air meat. And what we like to do is really come together, have you speak, and really set that as a goal, as an intention when people are there. And perhaps, we could have a little write-up in advance before I send the invites via email to everyone and before I create the page, and I'm going to feature you on a page on my website. I really want people to understand what you said. Number one, and what we said combined, we need to have a goal, okay? Focus on quality versus quantity, and really look at if your goal is meet either someone who may potentially be a client or potentially be a synergy partner. And I love that idea. So I want to make sure people are writing that date down, because she's going to be with us. She's going to be our first speaker, our only speaker so far. And we're going to go into this. I'm thinking air meat. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Are you, Tiffany?
It's going to be my first time. So hopefully we'll play on it before we get there.
Well, and I'll tell you that air meat has been fun and challenging. And maybe you and I will play in there before so we can make sure it works, because it has like a platform where you'll speak. And then it has tables if we choose to have tables where people can talk. And then it has this idea of networking, which we can decide 3-5 minutes, speed networking, which is how we've used it. And so we'll see how that works. And I'm letting you know in advance because I wanted to talk to you about speed networking. What are your thoughts about speed networking?
Okay, so I love the idea of speed networking from a perspective of let me quickly see who's in the room. I think that too often when we go to networking events, we will spend a lot of time with 1 or 2 people and we miss out on the opportunity to meet the other 40 people. And so I do appreciate the opportunity of let me meet a whole bunch of people, though, again, it's not, we're not speed networking, speed dating. Oh, you're cute. You want to get married? I mean, we're in a part of the process. We're getting to know each other. To me, speed networking is, let me get an opportunity to get to know you in a couple of minutes. Like I do a national speed networking event every Tuesday afternoon. And we get like 6 minutes per person. I usually know within the first 60 seconds if I'm going to want another meeting with the person or not. But that's years of experience in the networking realm. But it gives me an opportunity because instead of investing a 30-minute meeting or a 60-minute meeting with this person, whether we're getting together in person or online, I've got 6 minutes to decide. And I think 6 minutes is plenty long. Now,
what
is an issue is what people say when they speed network, but we'll come to that, back to that.
Well, you said 6 minutes, and that's a good question because I was going to ask you how long should it be, and then you said that you can tell. So is that something you're going to share with us now, or is that a secret that you're going to share with us when we are together on Thursday, July 15th?
So I would say 2 to 4 minutes, probably, if we're in one-on-one rooms. Like I've been to some groups where it's like everybody has, there's 3 or 4 people. I actually kind of like the 3 or 4 people, probably because if I got stuck with somebody I don't like, then, there's other people to talk to. As far as like if the other person is trying to sell to me in speed networking, that's like number one, a red flag. And I get that I've had a ton of education when it comes to networking. And most people think about networking being about selling and not about building relationships. However, I don't know that I want to spend the time trying to teach somebody like, hey, you're doing this wrong. So that kind of gives me an early on. If I've got somebody that in the 6 minutes of speed networking talks about themselves the whole time, then that's usually not good either. So if somebody jumps into the room and they're like, oh, Tiffany, so let me tell you about what I do and this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And it's not like, hi. I mean, I know we want to get to it, but hi.
So I think Andrea's asking, what's your mental criteria checkoff? And I don't know if you addressed that, but that was my question in terms of, and by the way, for those that are watching, feel free to ask questions in the chat now. And if you're in the replay, please ask questions. We'll make sure that Tiffany addresses them when she speaks next month at our Synergy Partners Networking event. So yeah, because that question, I think that's what Andrea's asking. It's the same thing that I wonder myself when you said the 60-second thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they jump right in, if they're all about themselves. I also am judgmental, sorry, but your background matters. Your dress matters. Your, how you look. I'm not like looking at you and saying, are you a 5? Are you a 10? That is so not what I mean. But I mean, like, have you done your hair? Have you shaved? Have you, do you have a shirt on? Seriously, one time there was a dude without a shirt on. I was like, really? And girls, you do have to be careful though, because one girl one time was like, she didn't look like she had a shirt on, but she was, because her camera was like from here up, but she had a sleeveless shirt on, so it looked like she wasn't wearing any clothes. One gal was like laying in bed or on a couch in a wrap, and I'm like, no. And I think also like backgrounds. To me, you don't have to have a professional background. It doesn't have to be your stage studio. However, if there's this one gal, and it's like her dining room table that's piled 4 feet high with stuff, and the corner, and it's just super, super cluttered and such a hot mess. And I'm like, if you're such a hot mess that you can't look in your camera and see what's behind you, like this is my Zoom corner. So I've been here on the Zoom corner since 2017. So when I redid my office, I was doing Zoom back then. And I made it like the rest of my office is super cool. I've got a sword wall, and my closet door is actually a TARDIS. If there's any Doctor Who fans out there, I've got my gardens. Like it is a very cool office. I have 5 different spaces to do videos in a 10 by 12 room. So it's really awesome. However, I didn't want to have to make sure it's always clean. So I've got a corner, my desk, my husband can't, because I've got some books over here. My husband always knocks baby Grogu off. So I've got it set up so where you can just see me and we're not worried about the rest of it. And so to me, if you can't, as a professional, figure out, whether it's do it in a corner or do it with a screen behind you or do the virtual backgrounds, which I'm okay with. If you can't figure that out, how in the world am I going to refer you? This is how you're going to show up to a call to somebody I refer to you?
That is, it seems so basic what you're just sharing, Tiffany, and it's so true, and, of course, we have all seen it. Me, when I'm going like this and in the air meet, it's the same thing that I can't really hide my background. So I just use my green screen.
Yeah.
And I just keep it simple, and it's not the best, but usually it's interesting. When I use my green screen usually more people pay attention. I don't know why. They're curious that I don't have something in the background, but because usually I have something in the background. But I've noticed that I see some people that look like a mess, and I'm like, so that's interesting. So,
well, and I mean, it's interesting. I think it does depend on the event. Like I have a book club on Mondays, and there's five girls and a guy, and it's casual. It's not like I'm running. I have a book club on Tuesday that I run, so I'm in charge. So to me, hair, makeup, full dress. But the Monday one, it's like we're friends. So to me, you don't have to be like dressed up if you're just hanging with your friends. But if you're doing business,
yeah, that is, especially in networking, and that is so true. I mean, and I will confess again, like I've done it because I think it was last time that we did our synergy partners. Unfortunately, last minute I couldn't do it here, and I had to go to my car, and it wasn't the greatest experience. I should have planned in advance, but there was a lot of noise. We had no internet, and so I understand that things happen. But generally speaking, we should have a plan. And that's one of the things, as I'm going to be promoting this video as we get closer to our Thursday, July 15th event. For those of you that are wondering, Tiffany will be our speaker, our guest speaker, who is going to be teaching us. Even when you're online, I understand it's funny because Andrea put something about having flip-flops or something. And I understand people cannot see you.
I'm wearing flip-flops.
Yeah, people cannot see you here. But
very casual pants with unicorns on them. And so I'll spill on myself. But you can't see that. Even if I stand up, you can't see because of the camera angle. You won't see it.
And it goes back to that first impressions. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So flip-flops, yes. Tank tops. I mean, girls, if it's cute, but guys, no.
Yeah, and so that's so important, especially when we are networking. We're presenting ourselves as a professional, and that first impression is so important. So what are some things, simple things that we can do in preparation for our Synergy Partners networking coming up on Thursday, July 15th? Meaning, what are some basic goals that we could suggest for people that is not going to be something that they have to do a lot of homework or a lot of preparation? Some very basic things. So at the end of the event, they feel like, wow, this was a valuable event. I want to continue doing this, and I want to continue learning this way.
All right. So one thing that we'll be doing if we're doing speed networking is you'll have the opportunity to share. So in my mind, there's 3 things that are really great topics for speed networking. And so I'll go further in depth in these when we're there on the 15th, but just to get you thinking. So my kind of 3 to pick from. Now I got to get it on the camera. 3 to pick from. Now, if you have 3 minutes, you might be able to get all 3 of these in. Oh, I was just putting my 3 up. If you have only 60 seconds or 2 minutes, then you're probably going to want to do just 1 or the 2. So those 3 things. Number 1 is your why. So this is what I call your emotionally charged connection. This is why you do what you do. This is not how you got to be in your profession. It's what drives you. And I've got a video. I'll share the link with Evie so that she can send that out to those of you that are registering. Just remind me, Evie, to give that to you. I'll get you that link so that you can see, what this why is all about. So that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be the benefits that you offer to your clients. So I could tell you, let me tell you about Ignite Your Business. It is a 10-module program, 2.5 hours per module. Module 1, laying the foundation for your referral success. Module 2, inspiring yourself and your clients. Module 3, attracting clients with ease. Module 4, are you falling asleep yet? It's like, who cares about all that? But if I said, hey, my clients have typically more time. My clients typically have more fun. And I talk about that. I think it's much more powerful. And then the last thing that I love to share in speed networking is testimonials, success stories. I think people really should be using success stories more and more and more, because it gives an opportunity for folks to hear what you do. So instead of me saying, let me give you all the details and the facts, what if I said, okay, so let me tell you about my client, Jason. So Jason is a general contractor. And when I started working with him 7 years ago, it was him, 2 other guys, and a part-time bookkeeper. Now, Jason has 44, I think on the last count, 44 employees in his multi-million-dollar general contracting business. He has 2 other businesses that he started in the meantime. He barely works Fridays and Mondays, yet alone Saturdays and Sundays. And he just upgraded his boat yesterday. He sent me the pictures from an 18 to a 24 foot.
Wow. And you know what? It's funny. I've never heard of that, testimonials. And it's funny that Andrea says testimonials annoy me if they're just a sentence.
Well, so Andrea, was that too long?
I've never heard of testimonials in a speed networking.
Oh, yeah. To me, they're the best because it tells you what I do without telling. Now, I think that if testimonials are like a page long and there are a ton of details, that, yeah, it could be a bit much. But to me, if we get straight to what you created. So I typically like to do testimonials, 3 parts: before, product or service, after. So Jason, 2 other guys, and a bookkeeper. Started working with me 7 years ago. Now, 44 employees, 2 other businesses, boat.
So I have a question then. Usually when I love your feedback, I usually ask a question and I let the other person start. And I say, well, tell me about you. What do you do? What is your solution? How do you help people? That's what I usually ask them. And what I'm looking for is what I do, which is what I do is, and I do my positioning statement. Like, I always say I love helping content creators to increase their online business or increase their sales online by leveraging marketing automation easily with ease. That's what I say. And so I would love to hear your feedback, because I always start with a question. I always let the other person start speaking, which, by the way, I don't have that 60-second thing that you do, but I guess I do, because when I ask someone, what do you do? And they go off on a tangent, I know that they don't know how to network, because if they go off and they, like in live events before the pandemic, people used to go off and they never even ask me, well, what do you do, Evie? Because they're off like.
And see, to me, if they don't ask me, all they're doing is making it really easy for me to know that they're not interested and move on.
So, okay, great. And I do the same thing. So how about what I said? I start with a question. I let them speak first. And then when I go, I just do my positioning statement and see where the conversation goes from there.
So, I mean, there's a couple different ways that you can go about it. And I don't know that there's a right way or a wrong way, because people that are interested from the statement will, if they think, oh, I'm a content creator, or, I know a content creator, then that might trigger them. However, if they're thinking, I don't even know what a content creator is, or if they're thinking, oh, I don't know anybody that has anything of interest to do with what Evie does, then we might be missing the opportunity. Whereas if we shared, here are some of what you could do is, here's my positioning statement and a testimonial. Here's my positioning statement and some of the benefits to your clients, so that you're giving them the positioning, but you're giving them a little bit more. I think about speed networking almost like fishing, and I don't fish, so don't pick on my analogies, y'all. But I want to bait the hook with the right bait. And so it may not always be exactly the same for every person. I may have to read the situation. If I happen to end up in a room with a speaker, then the positioning statement might be all that's needed, though, actually. So I was doing a speed networking event yesterday, and the person I was matched up with was a pay and per chef representative. And so the testimonial I used for her is because I have a Pampered Chef representative going through my program right now is, I've got a client. She started the program 9 weeks ago, not even done. And she's gone from a referral here and referral there to 2 to 3 referrals consistently each week.
Wow.
And so I'm not saying, hey, you should come take my program because I'll get you more referrals. I'm saying, hey, let me give you a testimonial of someone that I've helped in your realm.
I like that. And this, you keep talking about your program. So tell us a little bit about your program because I don't know anything about it. So tell us a little bit about your program. Is this your
so this is our Ignite Your Business program. It is the foundation was the Certified Networker program that I took in 2005 with Tiffany's Flair. So you'll get a little bit, it is offered as a Incentive Pro throughout other parts of the world, but it's got definitely a Tiffany flair in it. And I haven't been to the other one, so I can't say they're not more fun, but I'm pretty fun. We do a lot of engagement. We have a couple breakouts per session. Participants say that one of their favorite things is we get feedback, because I've had people say, can we just do this as watch it as videos? No. Because just like we will do on the 15th, where you get to do, go to rooms and do some different stuff, sometimes it's nice to get feedback from people. So it's a 10 module program, and our goal, we do it on Zoom. And the goal is, how do we identify who are going to be the right referral sources? How do we educate and motivate them so that they'll pass us referrals all day, every day? And so it's simple, not necessarily easy all the time, but it's a super simple system on how to get those referrals into your business. And it works online and offline, both. And it's not about, like, some people think about networking, like, let me go to hundreds of networking events, which nowadays on Zoom, you could probably go to networking events 24 hours a day, should you so choose. I don't, but it's about who are the right people. And networking is just a small component. It's not a major part.
I like that. And I definitely want to make sure we talk between now and the 15th of July, because I want to talk more about your program. And let me see what else we have here. Okay. And she was confused when you said that, but I know you're referring to yourself. But I want to go ahead and just remind people that if they'd like to join us right now, I haven't yet created the page for the event. And Tiffany, I know we're going to probably have to schedule something so that I can put all your information in that page so that people know in advance. Maybe we can create like a little cheat sheet of what we want them to happen on that day. But for today, if you're interested in joining us next month on Thursday, July the 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, where Tiffany's going to be sharing with us exactly how we can really leverage networking events to grow our business online, because this is going to be a virtual event. And I want to make sure that for now you can email me at evie@bizniversity.com if you want to be added to that list. And let me see if we have any other questions. I don't see any questions, but I want to make sure that people know that this video will be shared again, and that I'm asking Tiffany to please take a look at this video. So if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to post your questions and just put at Tiffany, make sure that is for her. And that way, when we get together next month, we can make sure that Tiffany addresses that. Plus, like I said, we're going to have a networking event. Tiffany's going to talk, and also you'll have an opportunity to ask all questions, and hopefully we'll get around to as many questions as possible of Tiffany, because I want to make sure that you get the most out of our event. And Tiffany, once again, can you mention the name of your book for Andrea?
So the book that we've been talking about today is the 4.5 networking mistakes that even the experts tell you to make. And that is on Amazon, in print, and in Kindle format. And awesome. I think I'm the only Tiffany Kellogg spelled this way. So if you have questions in the comments when you're rewatching this video, at Tiffany Kellogg, no space, is me, and Amazon, you should be able to find me as well. It's a nice thing when it's like, oh, I don't think anybody else has the same name spelled the same way. I didn't necessarily love the fact that my name was spelled weird growing up, but it definitely works as an adult.
I like it. And what we'll do, Tiffany, is that we'll put all that in the page, and we'll put a link to your website so people can say. And we have a month, so we'll have enough time for people to know how to get your book. Also, how to check out your program, if that is something that they want to go ahead and take advantage of. Anything else that you want to share before I have just some quick announcement, and I just want to make sure that I allow for any last minute comments that you want to share.
Just when you go to a networking event, keep in mind, what is the goal that I'm looking to achieve from this event? How do I make sure I position myself in the way that is going to make the most of the event? So that sometimes that's even picking the right event. And sometimes it's just, let's go out there and network. And I think a lot of times people think of networking and let me go meet new folks. Sometimes I think there's value in just reaching out, whether that's through a text, an email, a phone call, a direct message, and just saying, hey, so-and-so, I haven't chatted with you in a while. Just wanted to catch up, because I think there's as much value in the network that we already have as in the network that we're looking to create.
And it's interesting you said that, because you also said emails and following up. Do you have those as what I'm going to call templates? Meaning, do you have that you can copy and paste, kind of so that you always have sort of like the same thing, so you know what you're telling people, so you don't have to think? Because so many times I see that people do not follow up and follow through because they don't have what I call a template, which many times I tell people, I'm not even talking about you being in Kajabi, Kartra, WordPress, Constant Contact, anything. I'm just talking about even if you have something on a Word document, that you can copy and paste into an email so that you can follow up and follow through.
It's funny. I just put a video on this on YouTube last week, I think it was, or this week. It's been in the past like week and a half that I just put up a video, how do you email somebody after you follow up? And so I try to kind of personalize it a little bit. So I don't have a template per se, but I do have a formula. So, I start off with greetings of whatever, and I try to use the name because it creates that familiarity. And then I mention something from the event. If we're, having a one-on-one conversation, if we're doing speed networking, I can write down something specific that they said. And then I go into why I'm sending the email. Like, oh, I think we could refer each other because I think I can refer you because you have the kind of clients that I'm in front of. And then a call to action, whether that's, can we get together for a Zoom meeting? I love the ease of, hey, can we get together for 30 minutes and learn? Here's my online calendar with, click call or Zoom, or send me a calendar, what works for you. So I always encourage, what we want to do from this, not just, it was great meeting you, because then it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? And then a thank you.
I like that. Go ahead.
And I try in the subject line, I usually use an emoji. Now, if I meant so I do a Working Women of Tampa Bay coffee. So I'll put Working Women of Tampa Bay coffee, but I'll have a coffee cup. And I'll use the same subject line for everybody that I'm following up with. But I do try to make it a little bit more personal for people versus cut and paste.
Awesome. And Andrea, let me just say thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you're working on the 90-day plan. She said she's going to check out your YouTube. Awesome. And I just want to remind people, so one of the things that we're doing this week, and I love that you're putting an emoji, and I believe that your formula could be a template. And, we can talk about that offline for when we do our event together, because I am a big believer in following up and following through. And many times the reason we don't is because we may be exhausted after the event and we can't think. So if we have that formula in a template, then we can copy and paste it, or we already have it in a template, and whatever we use, we can send it. And the beauty of email marketing automation is that you can customize and personalize. What do I mean? If you have a person's name, you can send one to many, and you can put their name. If you met them, let's say at the Synergy Partners Network, those are presets that you would already have and have it in the body of your email. And, most of the time I teach people how to leverage this, whether it is on Kajabi, Kartra, Constant Contact, MailChimp, but there's so many free tools that you can even do it if you have a free Gmail account.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can do, I did mail merge for something earlier today.
You can do a template and have it as a template, and you could choose to have it as just words or even HTML. So there's so much. And so the reason why I'm mentioning that is, of course, because I'm all about marketing automation, and because this is a great segue to what I'm doing this Friday and Saturday. So Friday and Saturday, I'm teaching people how to create more emails, simple emails. And by the way, I said simple, easily with ease, and templates because even though I've been talking and actually doing email marketing for myself and many companies over the past 12 years, I've been learning more and more, especially since the pandemic. And we do need to keep it simple, and we do need to keep it short, and we do need to do that follow up and follow through and customize and personalize. And so Friday in the afternoon, we have a half a day virtual boot camp into email marketing, content, and automation. And then Saturday, for those of you that are a little bit more used to doing email marketing, you have a little bit more experience or experienced in email marketing, then we're kind of doing the same event, but it's actually for people who are more experienced. So for those of you that want to check it out, you can go to businessversity.com. You can look at this link. I'm also going to put it below because I know that's a huge URL. So I'm going to put it below in the recording for those of you that really want to understand how you can do better follow-up and follow-through via email. And that'll be on Friday and Saturday this week. For now, I want to make sure that you jot down in your calendar, if you have not already, that our next time that we're going to be with this amazing woman that's here with us today with this great energy and enthusiasm will be next month on Thursday. Mark that down, July the 15th at 2 p.m. We are going to have her give us some tips. You're going to see more about it inside of all my groups, as well as my pages, as well as my website, as well as my email. So you'll see, because this is what we have coming up next. This is all my focus is going to be on helping you leverage your online networking to grow your business easily with ease, and adding Tiffany's words, make it more fun. And so make sure that if you haven't emailed me to ask me for an invite, make sure you email me at Evie@Businessversity. And as soon as I get that page up, you will get it, and you'll be able to register, and you'll be able to ask Tiffany your questions, meet other people, and once and for all, finally learn how to leverage networking to grow your business online. So Tiffany, I want to thank you. I so appreciate you being here with me today. Andrea, that's as always, yes, I believe that's 11 a.m. I know you're in the West Coast, so I believe that is 11 a.m.
2 p.m. will be 11 Pacific.
Yes, so perfect. So Tiffany, thank you so much. I look forward to getting all your information, creating this page, and I look forward to our event next month because all my focus will be on this event. And I'm excited, and I'm so grateful that you said yes.
Thank you so very much for having me. It has been a blast to talk about some networking, and I look about diving even deeper into networking.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So feel free for now to Google Tiffany. Also, if you're in the replay, Tiffany's going to be posting some of her information here so that you have it. And like I said, if you have any questions for Tiffany, make sure that you write at Tiffany. That way she'll either address them there if it's appropriate, or she will for sure in our Synergy Partners Networking next month. So Tiffany, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to working with you however we can because I love your energy, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your program.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.